Set myself free. Me found everything lights.
Hey, what is going on, guys? This is DJ Clan Smasher, and today I'm going to be doing things a little bit different. So right now is the time where I'm going to be showing you my Bolaloon strategy. So I have been farming with that specific attack. As you can see, it does give me a pretty good amount of loot. Pretty quick for farming walls as well. And so let's go ahead and get started. So we'll go with this one right here. So the way it's going to work, I'm going to go ahead and show you my attack, guys. I'll tell you the reasoning behind me starting at specific sections, and then after that I'll do a live raid, and then I'll explain if things went as planned or if they didn't, and then what I would have done differently if I had more time to plan. So anyways, guys, I send in the baby dragons to create the funnel because I want to make sure that my boulders go in the middle. I typically don't try to go into corners, but in this case it was the best entrance because if you notice, by going into that section it opens up the base and I can get one air defense, the Inferno, the CC, the Queen, and then I was also able to get the other air defense. So one of the key things that you want to do is when you're doing this attack, you want to make sure that you create the funnel first, because you don't want the king to go the wrong way. The king is going to be your tank, so you don't have a golem in this case. The king is going to be your main tank, and then the boulders are going to go right behind the king. You also want to make sure that with this attack, when you're sending in the loons, I usually try to send at least 3 to 4 depending on the section that I'm dealing with, and then after that I save my lava hound in the back in the CC just to go ahead and get the last air defense. I typically want to take 2 air defenses with my kill squad and an Inferno. The mistakes that I have seen a lot of people do is they'll do this attack, but they'll let their heroes die. So they wait until the heroes die and then they start the air portion. And you don't necessarily want to do that because you can usually keep your king, queen, well, not king, it's usually the queen and the warden alive if you do it correctly. Not all the time, because it just depends on where the defenses are located at and how much splash damage they're dealing with, or a lot of the single point defenses. So it's always important to try to save at least 1 to 2 loons depending on the base. The specific army that I use when I'm raiding is this one right here. So I use the 2 lava hounds, 8 boulders, 2 baby dragons, 20 loons, 2 archers, and then the 4 or 5 boulders. 4 or 5 wall breakers, and then I use 4 haste, 1 rage, 1 jump, 1 freeze, and then another rage in the CC with the lava hound and loon. So anyways, guys, I used to use a different strategy. It was the exact same thing except I had more haste spells, but I noticed that when the when the update happened and it changed the loons as far as like how many drops it takes for the loons to take down the defenses, where you needed more loons per defense, it made it a little bit more difficult. So I noticed that replacing a freeze spell with 2 haste spells was ideal for me, and it made a huge difference. So anyways, guys, we'll go ahead and see this last replay, and then we'll go ahead and move on to a live attack. So this one right here, as you can see, I started my baby dragon on that section, and you can also use a grand warden for funneling. So because I'm farming in this specific section, I'm not really building a base, an army specific for a specific base. So this is my main army. Like I was saying, the usual differences that I'll make is I'll either bring less wall breakers or no wall breakers. For instance, in this case, I probably wouldn't bring any wall breakers, but since I had some, I figured I'd try to break in. And then the other thing would be the baby dragons, because it isn't always ideal to bring baby dragons. Like if the air defenses are on the outside, where I'm trying to get my funnel in, I wouldn't use baby dragons just because the baby dragons would die real quick and they're 10 spaces. So it's not worth just letting them die if they're only going to take 1 structure or something. So anyways, guys, the other thing is when you use the king ability, you want to use the king ability before you use the grand warden ability. And this is where I've seen a lot of people make that mistake. It doesn't seem like it's a huge mistake, but I have noticed a big difference when I'm doing this attack. So if you use the king's ability and then you use the grand warden's ability and you wait a few seconds before using the grand warden's ability, there's going to be some barbarians that will come out of the king, because the king produces a few barbarians. And those barbarians are actually going to help with cleanup. So it's always important to use the king before the Grand Warden, because the King's not really going to last that long anyways, because the King is the one who's taking all the bulk. It's not going to last as long, so you want to use the King's power, wait a few seconds to try to get as many barbs out as possible. Use the Grand Warden ability, especially if you see a big bomb, just wait until the bomb's just about to explode, just to kind of get the full benefit of the Grand Warden ability. And then after that, try to save 1 to 2 loons, and it's always nice to save the loons. Like for instance in this section, I saved the loons for the back end because I knew that I might run out of time. The Lava Hound didn't pop, and it's always nice to have loons for cleanup or to use them in the back, like if there is a wizard tower at the very end. That way that specific loon is taking all the splash damage from the other loons. So when it comes to the loons, you want to deploy them in a pretty much like in a surgical kind of way. You don't want to place all the loons together at once. So the way I do it is I look at the air sweepers. Depending on where they're facing, I go based off of that. And it also depends on where the inferno is located at. So I try to take care of the second infernos because I'm usually getting one of the infernos with my kill squad. And then the second inferno is taken care of by the loons. So what I do is I'll send in the loons. I try to path it to where the Lava Hound will pass by in front of the inferno tower. That way, if there's any splash damage or anything, the Lava Hound's the one to trigger it. Then I'll freeze the Inferno, and then I'll send a Rage spell. So I try to do it that way. It just depends on the Air Sweeper as well. Sometimes you can go through the Air Sweeper. Just make sure that you bring some haste spells to get through it. So anyways, guys, I'm just nexting to get some loot as well, and to show you guys a live attack. That way you guys can see how I deploy things, what I'm thinking, and I'll talk through the attack as best as I can because it's kind of hard for me to attack and talk through the base. This base, I would attack it, but it doesn't have a queen, so we want to show you how that part works because the queen does make a huge difference. So this one, upgrading the queen as well, passing on some good loot, guys. But I do want to show you the attack itself and how I would go about it. So we want to make sure that we get that full benefit, guys. So anyways, as I'm waiting here, let's see. Yeah, that one doesn't have too much loot, so we'll just keep nexting for now. So like I said, first thing is create that funnel with the baby dragons. See where the best place to place them at would be. If you don't need both baby dragons, use one first. If it gets hit by a SAM, then use the second one in that section, and then try to figure out where you can place your warden to create that funnel. And then send in the king to take some hits for the wall breakers. Once you send in the king, break in, send in the queen, and then the 8 boulders jump to take care of the queen, because that's the main thing, taking care of the queen. And if possible, try to get an inferno. It's not always the case, but usually you are able to get 1 inferno, 1 air defense, and that's pretty much the main thing as far as the kill squad goes. And then don't forget to use the king's power first, and then okay, this is a good base, and it's actually a common base, so this will help you guys out as well. So usually what I try to do with this base is I'll try to see if there's anything in the CC. So I'll send in 1 little loon here. Okay, there's nothing there, guys. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is, let's see, I will place 1 baby dragon here, and then I'll place the Grand Warden there, just to kind of create that funnel, because the baby dragon might be lured by the queen, so I don't want the queen to distract my baby dragon and kill it real quick. So now that that's taken care of, send in the king, the queen, wall break, first one as a test, then send in the rest, and then now I'm going to send in the boulders, and now I'm going to go ahead and place the jump spell right there. Now using the rage for the king, and there we go. Some of these boulders did go the wrong way, pretty much most of them, but it's okay. I wasn't able to create a good funnel in that specific section because of the way the queen was placed. The enemy queen was pretty much distracting my boulders, but it's okay because my king is eventually going to get that last air defense. So I'm just going to be patient here because I know my queen's probably going to jump and take care of that inferno. So I'm going to go ahead and wait to make sure. So yes, she's going to go in. Oh, okay, so I'm just going to use the power. So now I'm just going to go ahead and send in these loons, and I'm going to go ahead and haste these loons. That way I can try to get that that Inferno taken care of. So now I'm gonna go ahead and haste these other loons, and now I'm gonna go ahead and send this other Lava Hound, and we're just hasting our way through. So now I am going to, sorry, my iPad is kind of freezing. Guess it doesn't like me videotaping it. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and freeze the Inferno Tower, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and place a Rage Spell right there just to get through this base faster. I was able to take care of that Inferno Tower, so now everything got taken care of, guys, and I have a baby dragon. So now I'm gonna go ahead and place the baby dragon just to clean up. So that's the attack, guys. As you can see, even though the boulders went the wrong way, I still kept with the attack. You want to make sure you save the queen as much as you can and use her when you really need her. I've seen the mistake where a lot of people use the queen's power so early, and they could have saved the queen's power to pretty much get the 3-star or get another structure that could have been vital, like for instance an Inferno or something. So anyways, guys, that's my attack right there. If it helped you, go ahead and like the video, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. If you want to see more examples of this attack, please let me know. I've done this attack many times. Like I mentioned it in Judo Slot's video. I did it in the Trojan War. I've also done it in the Clash Cup several times for the 3-star, and I've also done it in Clash with Ash. He actually made a sort of like a how-to video, so you should also check that one out as well. So anyways, if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. I will definitely check the comments, and I do respond to those. So thanks again for tuning in. I do appreciate the feedback and everything. And thanks for those subscribers that came from Judo Sloth to here. Hopefully I don't disappoint, and I do try to provide as much content for you guys as possible for Clash of Clans. So thanks again, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.